Hi guys, today we discuss about Flask web framework using Python. Now we are going to talk about the basic of Flask using Python from scratch. Flask is a web application framework that is written in Python. A web framework or an application framework includes different libraries, module, web developer, so an application, without having to worry about any low-level protocol. Flask is based on Waxweg, WSGI, and Jingatsu template engine. The WSGI is a web server gateway interface toolkit, and Jingetsu, they communicate because Flask has to do with the web framework. It works with both framework of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So in order to understand this tutorial better, I hope that you already have the basic knowledge of HTML, CSS, and or JavaScript. At least you should have the basic knowledge of CSS and HTML, but even without that, you can continue with it. As far as you have, you need to also have knowledge of Python, how Python works. Okay, now today we are going to talk about the basic visual environment in Flask and its installation. We are going to talk about Flask installation and its library, and we are going to talk about basic Flask syntax, and we are going to print our first hello world application, web application using Flask API. So now guys, let us start. So the first thing we are going to do is we need to install the framework, the environment, the visual environment. So we quickly go to our terminal. Okay, we are in our terminal. So I'm using Python version 3. So you can use pip 3, and as well you can use pip. You can use pip or pip 3 depending on the version of Python that is installed in your system. Install visual env, that is visual environment. What is this visual environment? The visual environment in Python, we need it from Flask because it's a user to create multiple Python libraries side by side. Yeah, so access HTML and other libraries like that. So after pip install visual environment, we click enter. Now after installation, required already satisfied because I already installed it on my system. Now after installation, the next thing we need to do is to activate. We need to activate the visual environment. Now to activate it, we type in our terminal, we type visual env environment. Now we use the front slash scripts. Activate. This will help us to activate all scripts and any other thing we are going to be using in our Flask visual environment. So after installing and activating the visual environment, so we need to click on the project to check if our environment is successfully installed. Now, if you can see V environment, it means that our environment is successfully installed. It will have scripts in it. You can see 5v.ng, so it has some other label and other things under the visual environment. So now after our visual environment is successfully installed, the next thing we like to do now is to install our Python. The next thing now is to install the Flask itself into our Python. Okay, now to install the Flask library. So what we are going to do is we go to our terminal again. This is our terminal. Go to terminal and pip install Flask. Okay. Now after, let's wait for some time. Now requirement already satisfied. That is because I already installed the Flask into my system. Now to confirm if your Flask is successfully installed, now what you need to do is just to click on this. Already you should have created a new project. Create a new project. I give the project a name. I create a new project. I give it a name as Flask. Flask, and click on create. So with this, it should create this project for you. Now the next thing is in our main, we need to say from Flask imports Flask. Okay. Now after import, that is the first library we need to import the Flask library itself. And now after importing Flask, then the next thing is to say our app. The app we are going to create equals to Flask. We want our app to be in Flask environment. It should run in Flask. So we are going, there's something called a name. We are going to give it a name. It means that the router will recognize this application with this name that we are going to give. That it's an important part to understand, because we need a name. We need to import the name. So for that, we need underscore name. Okay. So that is the first step. Now the first step is to start writing the syntax application. To start writing the syntax application for our Flask, what we want it to perform. So to start, the first thing you need to do is we need to write the URL API, the default URL API. So we said add app dot routes at app.route. Now the function of the route is to enable us to write a function into the application, because our program, all what we need to write is in this application start from here. Now we said backspace. Later you will still understand more better about this in the next coming tutorial. But you need to understand something that these two syntax and this backslash is a rule and option. And the purpose of the rule and the option is like a local host and the port of our URL, like the local host and the port of our URL. Local host, I mean like it should create a local host like http //127, yeah, like that, /000.01.1. But now it will create a local host like this. This is our local host, and this is our port, default port. Yeah, so that is what this will automatically create. Now, if you want to like add some name to the local host, that is when we need to edit this, but we are still coming to that. You just need to understand this basic. Now the next thing is let's define a function. Now let's start writing a syntax for a program for our web application. So the first thing is to define a function. Now let's start with hello world. Hello world. Let's define hello world. Okay. Now this function we want it to return. It should return hello world. Okay. That is the simple syntax we are going to write today in the first tutorial. So now to run, this is our application. Now to run the application, this is what we need to do. We are going to write a condition that if our name, if this name or this name for the Flask application name given to it, if this name, the library of name we import, if it is main, if it is equals to main. if the name is equals to main, then our application should run. Let's run. This will run our application. Now let's try this. Okay, now we can see automatic, it has generated a local host for us. You can see the local host is the same thing as this. Okay, this is our local host, and that is the help of the root that we created here for a local host, because our Flask is going to run on web application. So we need a local host to run it, not on terminal. So what we need to do is to copy this local host, copy the URL, or just click on it directly. Now can you see hello world? It has taken you to a web page and it prints an hello world for us. So that is the work of the URL on the route that we just clicked. So that is the first big thing you need to understand about. That is the first basic thing you need to understand about Flask syntax. Another thing you need to understand about the Flask syntax is that it's run on web page. So I told you need to understand some basic of HTML. So for this, we can change the heading to 2. Headline to 2 here, and as well change it to 2 here also. You can change it to 2 here also. Now let's close it here. Okay, now for this we are going to use 2. Oh yeah, like this. So let's run our application. Run. Okay, it's the same thing. So let's click on it to check the output. Now, can you see the syntax is bigger than the previous? This was the previous default one, but this is when we add an H2 to it, now it's bigger. So that is the up of our HTML. That is why we said you need to understand some basic knowledge of HTML. So we are going to stop this tutorial here. In our next tutorial, we are going to talk about debug. We are going to talk about debug and some other API change in Flask. Thank you.